Here's how the PS5 Slim is good news for Xbox. Should there be a detachable disc drive for your Series S? Is it time to give Halo Infinite a second chance? Let's discuss. What's up guys, and welcome to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that is dedicated to all things Xbox. My name is Ray, and I'm back here with another video to update you on some things that are going on in the world of Xbox. I want to make sure that you are Xbox ready. Today we're going to be talking about the new PS5 Slim and what that means for Xbox. Should the Series S have a detachable disc drive? Should we give Halo Infinite a second chance now that Season 5 is around the corner? And we got some surprising news regarding a title that was just added to Gamepass. So rumors about a PS5 Slim model have been swirling around the industry for a while now, and those rumors turned out to be pretty spot on when Sony came out on this past Tuesday and said, hey guys, look at this new PS5, it's the PS5 Slim. There'll be two versions of the PS5 Slim, a digital and a physical edition. Both of these are apparently 30% smaller than the original PS5s, and if you buy a digital PS5 Slim and you change your mind down the road, you're like, oh man, I really want a way to play physical discs. Whether they be video games or movies, you have the option to buy a detachable disc drive and then slap that onto your PS5. Both models are going to have a full terabyte of storage now rather than the 850 or 75 that they used to have, and they're going to have USB-C ports on the front. The PS5 Slim with the disc drive is going to be the same price as a physical PS5, $500. They're raising the price of the digital edition of the PS5 Slim to $450. The detachable disc drive is $80 if you want to buy that separately, and if you want to mount your PS5 vertically standing up, you got to pay $30 for that. Other than that, this PS5 Slim is pretty much the same. Now Ray, what's going on? Why are we talking about the new PlayStation 5 console? This is an Xbox channel. What are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing, or at least what I hope Xbox is gonna do. As we all know, a couple of weeks ago, we got some really big leaks regarding the future of Xbox, including plans for a digital Series X codenamed Brooklyn, a new revamped Series S, sort of, and a new controller. Since then, Xbox has come out and been like, oh man, no, like some of that stuff isn't even real anymore, leaving people to kind of just guess about what is real from that leak and what is not. I personally am hoping that this digital Series X is real, and in my opinion, I think Xbox should get a move in on releasing that now that we know some more stuff about the PS5 Slim. In those leaks, they were saying that they were going to release the digital Series X sometime in 2024, like towards November, I believe. The PS5 Slim is going to hit certain retailers by the end of 2023. I think Xbox should just release their digital Series X because, in my personal opinion, it's a lot cooler and offers a lot more than these PS5 Slims that we're seeing. When the leaks came out and we were seeing this digital Series X for the first time, I thought it was pretty cool, but I saw a lot of people being very critical of it. First of all, they were like, oh, digital edition stuff? Boo, that sucks. Xbox is trying to force an all-digital future? Like, no, they're not. It's already happening in other sectors of entertainment, and it's already happening in the video game industry with or without Xbox. I also saw people being critical of saying, oh, why are they pricing this digital Series X at $500? That's stupid. It should be $400 like the PS5 digital edition. And I wonder what those people are thinking now, knowing that the digital PS5 from now on is going to be $450. Once they finish selling the stock of these old school units that they have, old school, only like a couple of years old, I guess, those are going to be the standard units, the PS5 Slim. And it's like, okay, do you want a digital PS5 that is pretty much the same thing with only a terabyte of storage, or for $50 more, you can have this digital Series X that has 2 terabytes of storage, and at least they like put some effort into making it look different, having a little bit of a redesign going on. PlayStation just quietly increased the price of their PlayStation 5s. The digital edition is more expensive, and if you change your mind and you're like, man, I want that disc drive, the digital plus the disc drive is going to be more than what you would pay for a physical edition PS5 Slim. And they're going to charge you, I know that they've done this in the past, but they're going to charge you again if you want to mount your PS5 vertically. So if you get the disc drive PS5 Slim and you're like, man, I really want to have this thing standing up on my desk, it's going to be $530 where it used to be just $500. With the digital Series X, if these leaks are to be believed, you're getting a full terabyte of storage. Once again, you're getting improved Wi-Fi connectivity. Like, at least you're getting some extra features that you wouldn't get on a Series X. minus the disc drive. Now, while I personally think the digital Series X could absolutely leave the PS5 Slim in the dust, that becomes a different story if PlayStation decides to come out with a PS5 Pro. And I'm honestly thinking PlayStation might do that, especially once these Slim models become the standard consoles on the market for them. We already know that Xbox is not interested in doing a mid-gen refresh, a Pro version of either the Series X or S. But I can't believe that they wouldn't have like absolutely nothing in order to answer Sony in the event that they come out with a Pro version of the PS5. But going back to these detachable discs that we're seeing on the PlayStation 5 Slim, an interesting poll popped up on Pure Xbox, and it was just asking, hey, should the Series S have a detachable disc drive? And right now the poll is sitting at 511 votes. Now, I am of two schools of thought on this. On one end, I do believe that the future of entertainment, including video games, is digital and subscription based. I know there's going to be a lot of opinions about it, but seeing how just the general consumer trends are going, I feel like that's where we're heading to. And we're already seeing it on PC. People don't buy physical editions of PC games anymore. They just have their Steam library and that's it. So I think it would be silly to believe that consoles aren't going the same way. On the other end, it is nice to have options. So even if consoles in the future may be all digital, it would be awesome if we had an option to play a physical disc, especially if you're a Series S owner and you have a lot of Xbox One games on discs. Overall, it'd be a huge win for backwards compatibility, game preservation, all of that stuff. But also something to think about is that if you're buying a Series S and then you're buying a disc drive to attach to that Series S, if that in any way narrows the gap price-wise between the S and the X, why not just buy the Series X? The need for an Xbox detachable disc drive could go up if they release this digital Series X. And if that's the case, I think it would be in their best interest to just at least give their customers that option. They're like, okay, yes, we're going full digital on our consoles. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case. But if you still have old games that you want to play that are on a physical disc, here is like a branded Xbox, a detachable drive that can also play DVD and Blu-ray. We did hear some news about this via a patent that Microsoft filed. And in this patent, they were describing a disc drive where you can put in Xbox Series X or S game, and it'll give you like the key to basically download it on your Series S. We haven't heard anything more on that front regarding this patent or a product like that coming from Microsoft, but you never know, something like that could be in the works for sure. In my experience, the only time I really buy physical discs is when I buy used games or like super cheap games. I remember when Assassin's Creed Origins got its next gen patch on the Series S, and I was like, oh, I really want to check it out. But it was before it was on Gamepass. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. On the digital store, it was full price, $60. And I was like, no way am I paying $60 for Assassin's Creed Origins in 2022. Luckily at GameStop, it was like $8. It was the Xbox One version, but by putting it in my Series X, it downloaded it, and it also downloaded via smart delivery the next gen version of it. So stuff like that is why I would really like to have at least an option to just plug it into my digital Xbox or whatever the future of Xbox is and play a cheap game. And honestly, if they came out and they announced plans for something like that, it could get back a lot of goodwill that they seemingly lost when they leaked this new digital Series X. Next up, let's talk about Halo Infinite. Is it time to give it a second chance? If you need a rundown of what happened with this game, it came out in 2021 and everyone was like, oh yeah. My bad, y'all. Everyone was like, oh yeah, Halo was back, baby. And then people slowly started to realize, oh, this game is pretty light on the content side, especially with the multiplayer. And then they were like, no guys, it's okay, we're gonna have new seasons, new stuff. But the seasons were crazy long and they didn't bring that much new stuff. But we just got a trailer for Season 5 of Halo Infinite, and honestly guys, it's looking pretty dang cool. We're getting Extraction back. We are getting a version of Firefight. It's like Firefight King of the Hill or something like that. We're getting customizable Flood-inspired armor and cores. And they're gonna let people put AI-controlled enemy units in their Forge maps. And for the first time on social media in a long time, I'm seeing like positive buzz about Halo Infinite. It's not all doom and gloom. So I was like, okay, let me re-download Halo Infinite and jump back in. And guys, I'm still having fun with this game. New armor cores are sick. I equipped this one that makes me look like a freaking like RoboCop Spartan. I tried out some of the new game modes. I was playing a game where all of us were tiny, but the guns were regular size, so we were all like super fast. But that's not really the problem, right? I never thought Halo Infinite was not fun. And I know a lot of people come in the comments are like, Ray, admit it, Halo Infinite is trash. Halo Infinite sucks. I never thought Halo Infinite sucked. I honestly had a really good time with it. I poured a lot of time in the multiplayer of this, and I played a lot with my friends, and that was the first time that happened in a very long time. The problem was, especially as me and my friends got into ranked, is that we were playing like the same 3-4 maps. So we'd be playing hours at a time, same maps, and it was like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit old. But now I finally think that the game, at least the multiplayer part, is at a point where it's like, okay, this is like a solid experience. They're offering a lot, and it's a game that I would recommend, like, hey, like, come and play this game with me. Now, I know what a lot of people are gonna say. Ray, too little, too late. But I'm personally going to be giving it a second chance, and I think Microsoft should get a second chance as well. It's clear that there are things that are different at 343 Industries. There's been some shuffling around in the leadership over there and some of the structure, and it's looking like they're on the upswing. So it's time for Microsoft to start talking about it again. It's time for Xbox to start featuring it in their showcases, in their social posts, which is not something that they've been doing. Halo Infinite, nowhere to be found at the June showcase. They were showing off games like the Lamplighters League and also like 33 Immortals. Nothing about Halo, one of their flagship franchises that really put them on the map. Didn't say a peep about Infinite at the showcase. And previous to this, I get why they weren't really talking about Halo Infinite, because there was really nothing to talk about. It was like, oh, we just added this new skin that you could pay $20 for, or this new armor core. So none of that really is super exciting. So I get why they weren't talking about it, but now Xbox needs to talk about it. They need to hype it up a little bit. I don't know if they're gonna see like a miraculous turnaround. Player counts are pretty low for Halo Infinite right now. I think it's like the 30th most played game on Xbox itself, which is that's pretty sad. That's a tough pill to swallow. Concurrent Steam players are pretty low as well, and despite the fact that this game is free, the multiplayer is free. But now that they actually got Halo Infinite to the state where it's like, okay, there's some fun stuff going on here, it seems weird that Xbox would continue to ignore it, especially when they're highlighting games like Fallout 76 in their showcase with that new like New England or whatever update that they got going on. You gotta show some of that love to Halo now. Another big criticism of Halo Infinite, which I feel like hasn't gone away, are the desync issues at launch. Me personally, I poured like 120 hours into this game when it launched. And then over the course of the years, not so much time, but I still play it. And in my opinion, the desync issues aren't as pronounced and as apparent as I feel like people make them out to be, but that's in my personal experience. It may be different for you. We're also getting some like more cutscenes and story content via the storylines that are playing out in the multiplayer seasons. But it'll always be weird to me why they didn't choose to flesh out the single player campaign more. They set themselves up to where it was like, wow, we have this big open world. We can add whatever we want to it. We can have all this stuff. It's like a perfect playground for DLC and all sorts of added content. But it seems like they gave up on that pretty quick. There was apparently never plans for a single player DLC. But now that the multiplayer is like, okay, we got some stuff going on here, some Forge maps, AI and Forge, like all these fun different game modes and stuff. Maybe they can have just some people working on new stuff for the single player campaign. Speaking of games struggling, trying to turn it around, trying to get an audience, we got a pretty depressing update regarding the Lamplighters League, which was just added to Game Pass earlier this month, or at the end of September. I can't keep them all straight. There's a lot of games coming to Game Pass, guys. This game honestly looked pretty interesting to me. I have it downloaded, but I haven't played it yet. But it was pretty apparent when this game launched that it was plagued with performance issues. A lot of people were saying like, dang, this game is crashing on me all the time. I cannot give it a good review until you guys fix it. So the team behind Lamplighters League, they were working furiously to patch the game, but it may be, once again, too little, too late. Because the publisher behind Lamplighters League, Paradox, they have decided to write down MSEK 171 of capitalized development cost for the game, with a projected impact of MSEK 248 on profit for the fourth quarter. And when I first read that, I was like, what does that mean? You're speaking another language to me. But thankfully, this guy on Twitter puts it in terms that I can understand. It means to reduce the total estimated value of something. So you thought the value was going to be X, but it is actually Y after you remove depreciation. In this case, dev costs and whatnot. Basically, they're saying the game is worth less than they hoped it would be. Just a week after the game releases, the CEO of Paradox, their publisher, is basically crapping over the reception to this game. He says the Lamplighters League is a fun game with many strengths. Even though we see cautiously positive player numbers in subscription services, the commercial reception has been too weak, which is frankly a big disappointment. Game projects are by their nature always risky, but at the end of the day, we haven't performed at the level we should. It is painful, but makes us more eager to roll up our sleeves and do better. First of all, this is the type of game that is never gonna like blow up and be a runaway hit. The genre, the gameplay, it's more niche. And it also came out during a time where a ton of other big games were releasing. Starfield just came out, Motorsport just came out, Mortal Kombat 1, freaking Spider-Man 2 is just around the corner. I'm still working my way through Lies of P. I just finished Baldur's Gate 3. Like, my backlog is crazy right now. And with all of those really cool games in my backlog, I wasn't jumping at the opportunity to be like, okay, let me check out Lamplighters League. And considering that this game is not based on an established IP, it's a little bit more niche in terms of a genre, people are going to be a lot less forgiving when it launches with all of these performance bugs that people have been talking about. It seems like the only thing going right for the Lamplighters League is its performance on Gamepass. Cautiously positive player numbers on gaming subscription services, that leads me to believe that there are people checking this game out on Gamepass. And it's a shame because we've seen some of these smaller games, these more niche games, come to Gamepass and really find an audience and get really good critical reception. But it just doesn't seem to be the case with the Lamplighters League. From what I've been reading about it, from the gameplay I've been watching, it's like, this game is okay. But there's some other things that really bog it down, like the performance issues, and people are complaining about like day one DLC stuff, which is always like kind of a turnoff. But classic Paradox, right? At this point, it's like, where do they go from here? But I wish them the best, because when I saw that Lamplighters League was coming to Game Pass, I was like, wow, this is like turning out to be a really great time to be a Game Pass subscriber. You're getting a lot of variety, you're getting a lot of like different cool games, and to see that the Lamplighters League's not really working out in the way that they want it to, it's a bummer. Anyways, guys, that's all the news I have for today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you like Xbox, if you're an old fan, if you're a new fan, if you like my content, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed, and we'll see you in the next one.